Hi, I'm Maddie, and on January 6th, 2027, my 30th birthday, I am applying to the show Survivor. Not because I'm convinced that I could win, but because I made myself a promise. I'm going to stop letting fear be the thing that stops me from trying. So this is Couch to Survivor. How did we end up here? I started watching Survivor during COVID, I think, and immediately just loved it. The personalities, the gameplay, the twists, the betrayals. I mean, it's been going on for a long time for a reason. But more so, I loved watching the growth of the people playing the game, whether that was their personal life reflections or the confidence that they built in themselves. That's what I really fell in love with. Cut to season 50. I'm watching with my friends, and we start joking that I would be great on Survivor. Not skill-wise. Let's be very clear there. Not skill-wise. But we thought that I would make really great TV. We all knew that within the first hour of being there, I would easily crash out, whether that was from overwhelm or gratitude for being part of the experience, or most likely both. So I thought the concept of me going on at all would be really funny, right? Like a girl with no athletic ability, limited emotional regulation skills, and a complete inability to hide anything that I'm thinking. I really kept joking that I wish that they would do like a tandem team season where I could stay at camp and play the social game, and then I could send one of my like really fit and talented friends in for all the challenges. Maybe something to consider in the future, producers. But after joking about it over and over again, my therapist actually directly asked me, she was like, "Is this really a joke? It seems like you might want to do this." And I realized, to my horror, that I did. I did actually want to be on Survivor, or at least I wanted to try. So technically, I could just apply, right? There's a keyboard and a 3-minute video that are between me and me being a Survivor applicant. So technically, very simple, but emotionally horrifying. That got me thinking. One of the things that I love about Survivor is that you don't have to be a professional athlete or a survival expert to be on this show or even be good at this show. Sure, we love a challenge beast, but some of the very best players and some of my personal favorite players were never major physical threats. They're people who are observant, social, strategic, people who know how to form connections, leverage them when the time's right, manage their threat levels, and adapt to these changing conditions. But most of all, what I think makes a great Survivor player is that they never give up on themselves. And before I applied, I wanted to prove to myself, and maybe the production team, that I'm that kind of person too. That I'm the kind of person who can do hard things, can do things that they're not just naturally good at. Because to me, that's what Survivor is about. It's about digging deep. It's about pushing through. And it's about betting on yourself day in and day out. Because I have ADHD and I love a SMART goal, we need a deadline. So January 6th, 2027, my 30th birthday, I am going to submit my audition to Survivor. And while I would love to get cast, that's like, the goal is not to get cast. The goal is to apply, to become the kind of person who is not afraid to try. That's the goal. And another thing that I've always wanted to do and have been too afraid to do is make YouTube videos. So I figured, cool, like we can just make this like a Russian doll of fear confrontation and do it all at once. Is that difficult for me? Yeah, absolutely. But is that useful? 100%. And will it be entertaining? Baby, I hope so. Like, I'm a theater kid, so. So before I get into my actual like plan and framework, I feel like I should briefly explain the game. If you've never seen Survivor, here's an extremely short overview. A group of strangers are dropped into a remote location. Now it's always Fiji, but you get the point. They're split into tribes or groups and forced to live together with limited resources. They compete in challenges, and if their group loses, they go to something called tribal council and they vote one of their fellow players out. Eventually, the game becomes individual, and so people who are voted out at that point become the jury. And at the end, the finalists have to convince the jury of people that they helped vote out that they deserve the title of sole survivor and the $1 million prize that goes with it. So, in essence, you have to compete physically, adapt strategically, build trust, betray trust, read people, manage your emotions and reactions, somehow stay camera friendly and appropriate while you are hungry, dirty, paranoid, tired, and in my case, likely crying a lot. So, again, what a great framework for personal growth. Everything all at once. Okay, so speak of the framework. Survivor has 3 iconic pillars: Outwit, Outplay, and Outlast. And that's how I'm structuring my training too. So we have Outwit, which is more of our mental and social game. That means puzzles, strategy, observation, reading people, building trust, managing perception. I feel good about this category. Generally speaking, I think it's going to be my strongest, except for the fact that I'm overly trusting, which, don't get me wrong, that's a beautiful trait of mine spiritually, but strategically, kind of a disadvantage. Then we have the category of Outplay. That's more of our physical element, and this is where I think things are going to get the most interesting and comical. We're talking about running, swimming, strength training, grip strength, balance, agility, throwing accuracy, any athletic activity at all, I think we can ladder up to Outplay. And if you can't tell by my body shape or self-deprecating humor, I'm not really starting this as like some secret athlete. I am truly starting this as a couch potato with a dream and a deadline. So finally, there's Outlast. Outlast is about surviving literally, whether that's surviving in the game, in the environment that you're in, or in your own mind. So weathering the elements, fatigue, boredom, hunger, fragile emotional states. This also means working on survival skills like fire making or shelter building, but it also means training for emotional regulation and resilience. As a girl blessed with the holy trinity of ADHD, anxiety, and depression, this might get a little difficult, but that's why it's important, and it's a skill for life. Good luck to me. Okay, starting assessment. Where are we actually starting? Number 1, in the Outwit category. Making friends and social ease. I would give myself a 9 out of 10 on this. Robert Irwin, I heard, just use this fabulous phrase, which was, I can talk the legs off of a chair. I can talk the legs off of a chair. I can talk to a brick wall. I love inanimate objects. That's a separate point. Basically, it's hard for me to find someone that I can't get along with or find something redeeming about them and kind of bring them out of their shell. So I think that this is my strongest category and my biggest advantage. That said, next item, telling if people are lying. I'd say I'm like a 3 out of 10. I am a little too trusting, like I mentioned, and I want to believe everyone, which is a problem. Then we move to puzzles. I love puzzles. I love jigsaw puzzles. But a slide puzzle, a 3D puzzle, those like weird stacking ones that are always at bookstores that I'm so bad at. So overall, I would say I'm like a 7 out of 10 when it comes to puzzles. And then observation, I'm going to give myself like a 4 out of 10. Emotionally, I'm hypervigilant. I'm always observant. I'm always scanning. But physically, like spatially, we lack awareness. So yeah, I think we'll settle on like a 4 out of 10 there. In the next category of Outplay, just some athletic skills. Swimming, I give myself like a 5 out of 10. I am not like an amazing swimmer, but I love to swim. Everyone knows that if there is a pool, I am going into it. Even if it's 50 degrees, even if it's a work trip, and at times it's been both, I will be going into that pool. Am I fast? No. Do I look graceful? No. But I'm not like holding my nose when I jump into the water. Like, I can swim. I'm a decent swimmer. Running and endurance. 1 out of 10. Agility. 2 out of 10. I wish I had a montage of me just tripping all over the place. There are bruises all over my body right now. So, yeah, we'll say a 2 out of 10. Balance. 3 out of 10. I'm really great at holding things on my head and walking, but I think that's more of a party trick than actual balance. Core strength is low. Next, throwing and hand-eye coordination. This is a 1 out of 10 through and through. And anyone who has been my friend, elementary, high school, college, adulthood, could attest to that. So, yeah. Lastly, Outlast. Survival skills, I would give a 2 out of 10. I don't know much, but I think I know more than some people that have gone on that show. There have been people who have never car camped and have gone on that show. So I've seen worse. I'm not an expert, but I'm also not a complete fucking idiot. So take that with what you will. Comfort with discomfort, maybe a 2.5 out of 10, a 3. Now, emotional regulation while uncomfortable or while stressed, that I give like a 2 out of 10. I can make myself comfortable. Am I regulating myself so others are comfortable? Probably not. Lastly, stillness and patience, I think, is something that we can track here. I'm going to give myself a 3 out of 10. I don't mind being alone. I don't mind being alone with my thoughts, but stillness is difficult for me. Patience and managing impulsivity, that's difficult for me. So we're going to say like a 3 out of 10. So overall, not loving these numbers, but we do love honesty and transparency. And I love an arc. So what's that? Like 35%? Higher than I expected. So I'll take that. And again, we're not going for 100%. Like, I'm not trying to become a survivalist expert to then think that I'm ready for this show, Survivor. So I'd say, like, if we can aim for like 50, 60%, I would feel good about that. Here's the thing. This isn't really about Survivor. I mean, it is in that I do want to apply. I would love to get cast, and that scares me. But there's a lot of things I'm as afraid of or more afraid of than the show Survivor. I'm afraid of being uncomfortable. I'm afraid of being seen and perceived. I am afraid of being seen trying. I'm afraid of being bad at things. Mostly, I'm afraid of being seen trying and being bad at things. So I know that this series might be embarrassing, but I think that's kind of the point. I think it's important to remind myself, and honestly, the entire Gen Z community, that embarrassment isn't fatal. And actually not pursuing the things that you want and the person that you want to be is going to be way more detrimental. And I'm at this point where I am tired of postponing. I am tired of letting fear win. So I'm using Survivor as the excuse to start. So, yeah, it's about Survivor, but it's really about me. Okay, so what should you expect? What's next? What's going to happen on the channel? Between now and my birthday, I'm going to do things. New things, scary things, hard things, humbling things, things that will help teach me how to outwit, outplay, and outlast, things that will make me stronger, braver, more prepared to apply. Maybe that's learning to build shelter. Maybe that's learning to keep my effing mouth shut sometimes. But regardless of the activity, I'm going to document it here because the most uncomfortable part of this challenge isn't fire making or running or sleeping outside. It's making a YouTube video and being seen fire making and running and sleeping outside. So all that to say, if you're a Survivor fan or you're a fellow couch potato or you're one of my friends and family, I love you, or you're someone who has been postponing the person that they want to become, or maybe you just enjoy a personal growth journey, welcome. This is Couch to Survivor. I made myself a promise. It scares me, and I'm doing it anyway. The first challenge we're tackling, running. And I'm not talking about a half marathon. Girl, I am not even talking about a 5K. I am talking about trying to learn how to run 1 single mile, because I'm pretty sure I've never physically done that in my life. So let's see if I can. I'll see you next week.